Welcome back to Southern Unscripted. We are on episode 15. I can't even believe it. I'm super excited about today's episode, per usual. I always say that literally every episode. But today we're going to talk and dive into a whole different world of wellness. I know we've kind of touched on alcohol and addictions and stuff, but today we're going to shift gears that can help, but in a more holistic way. Today, my guest, Stacey Ellis, is just celebrating a grand opening of her new holistic wellness center. It's called Monarch Wellness, right?
Monarch Quantum Wellness.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I didn't want to get that wrong. And
okay.
I had the pleasure of going to see this beautiful place of business. I mean, y'all did such a great job on just the vision, and you walk in and you feel relaxed immediately, and you haven't even got treatment yet.
Yes.
So I kind of want to dive into it and just learn a little bit more about it. So I first and foremost, I want to know how Monarch got started. I know you said you are a nurse with a nurse background, so tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So it's interesting because I became a nurse. That was a second career for me. I actually have 2 bachelor's degrees. I was actually in corporate America for a long time. I have a business background and specifically human resources.
Okay.
And so I was a recruiter for years. But I always had this heart where I really wanted to help people heal. And so I thought nursing was the way to do it. And so after I started having kids, I just was like, I want to go to nursing school. I just had it in my head that that's what I was going to do. And so nursing actually became a second career for me. But what was so fascinating was when I got out of nursing school and actually started working in the traditional allopathic world, I just didn't feel like I could help people in the way that I really wanted to. And it really just opened my eyes. You know, I started working out working in the hospital, and then I started getting into psychiatric nursing. And so I worked in an acute psychiatric ward, basically, or acute psychiatric hospital, where we were actually, holding people down, and giving them shots against their will, really for their safety and different things like that. And
what was that like?
It was wild.
Yeah.
And scary and amazing.
And then also you feel sorry for them at the same time. Yes. But what else are you supposed to do?
But when you work in one of those environments, really it's mostly to keep them from hurting themselves and different things like that, and also hurting us. And so it's almost felt like a prison type environment. So that was wild. I did that for a little bit of time. And then from there, I moved into a home health position. And that's what really kind of opened my eyes to just kind of what's going on in our healthcare, sick care world. Is, when you're in the hospital, you only see your patients for maybe 12 hours here and there. You're lucky if you see them, a couple times over, a few shifts or something like that, and then you never see them again. And when I started doing home health, I was doing home health psychiatric and actual wound care, physical stuff too. And it's when you start visiting people's houses, sometimes almost daily, and you really see what they're doing, what's going on. They're on 10 to 15 different medications. You don't know if a symptom is from the actual illness that they have, or it's just a side effect from a drug that they're taking. It's just a really wild environment. And that's really kind of opened my eyes to a lot of just what is really going on in this world.
Yeah.
And at that time, some holistic stuff started coming in. I started getting involved with essential oils and different things that. And I would bring my little oils with me to my patients' houses. And it was just wild because there were some different oils that I would use where I had a gentleman who, he was paralyzed from the chest down, and, I had to do wound care with him, but I would roll him over. And, after I would do his wound care, I would massage his back, give him a real quick back rub with just this oil, this amazing massage oil, but it had a lot of kind of pain type oils
tailored
in it.
To what he needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he would tell me that works better than the fentanyl patches and all the other things that the doctors had him on, and the muscle relaxers, et cetera. But I could never chart that. I could never tell anybody.
And I swear by the oils because whenever you have a newborn, they're really not trying to give you medicine. And
Yes.
all I could do was lean on
Yes.
oils. Still to this day, my daughter is 9 years old. When she doesn't feel good, she wants oils in her bath.
Yeah.
It's like the aroma immediately makes you
Yeah.
feel good. It's not going to be like your permanent fix, but it relieves you. Like I
Yes.
swear by all the
Yes.
oils,
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And
But
it
yeah,
was,
you couldn't chart it because it's
no,
not.
I'd get a hand slap.
So you kind of do it under the.
I did. Yeah, even though I wasn't supposed to. But I mean, I was more about, I really wanted my patients to feel better in some way.
Yeah, because that's what your
And that,
purpose was,
yes,
anyways.
yeah. And so when I relocated to, so that was, I'm from St. Louis, but when I relocated to Texas in 2018, I just decided, I'm like, I'm just no longer going to practice in that capacity. And it was interesting because after that, when I moved here, I started working just part-time at a place called Woodlands Natural Health. They're over off Kirkendall Road. And that just really opened my eyes to all kinds of holistic type stuff. And it was just such an amazing experience. From there, I became a certified neurofeedback practitioner, which is it's like a non-invasive treatment to the brain that really helps with things like anxiety, depression, etc. And so I was starting to get into more of the kind of frequency, energy stuff anyway. And then while I was working there was an energy healing technique that came in called emotion code. And emotion code is basically a way to use muscle testing to find trapped emotional energies in the body and release them very quickly. And so I became certified in that. And then we started offering that as a service at the place I used to work. And then in 2020, when the world just went wacky.
Yeah. Everyone has a good 2020 story of like when they had to pivot their life.
Yes. And what was wild with me was in 2020, right when the world shut down, is when I went through a divorce too.
Oh, wow.
And so, at that point I was a single mom to 3 kids. I had been in a relationship where I didn't really have to work, but I just was working part-time okay, now I got to start making money. I got to start really, all of those types of things. And I ended up resigning where I was because I just wasn't getting the hours at that time. And I started my own one-to-one practice. And during that time is when a frequency bioresonance technology came into my focus right around the end of 2020 called AO Scan. And AO Scan is just this amazing frequency technology that anybody can get access to on their phone, but literally like you can send frequencies to anybody and anywhere in the world. I have a frequency for a migraine. And it's like, and so it's just interesting how energy stuff started coming in, even though coming from a science background, that would have been really weird.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
then all of a sudden it just started gradually coming in. And so fast forward to 2022, 23, you've met Roger.
Yes.
Roger's my partner. He is from Louisiana. We had been friends for a while. We actually met at an energy healing conference back in 2019, but he was just this really kind man with an amazing smile. And when I started actually selling the AO Scan, he was like, hey, you remember me? And this was like, 2021 or something. And him and I just would talk every 6 months or every 3 to 6 months or something like that. And, during that time, there was just this, I don't even know. I say it's like a download from God. It was like, this just kept coming in that you're going to open this wellness center. You're going to do this. And I'm like, no, I just want to work from Bali. I just want to work from a remote island somewhere.
Don't we all?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to have employees and I don't want to, that was like never really my ultimate dream to begin with. It was always like, no, I just want to travel the world and make a bunch of money and work from my phone and drink cocktails on the beach from where
Sounds
I'm
amazing.
working from, right? And it was so wild because, also before I had moved to Texas, I'd lost my mom to cancer. And I was her nurse during that process. And it's just so interesting how all of these things kind of come together because she, her oncologist, we were all talking with her about nutrition and stuff like that. And this was way before I knew much about holistic stuff. And her oncologist was just like, she's like, my family's telling me I need to change my diet, during this process. And, her oncologist is like, just eat what you can keep down. And
Yeah,
so
at
her
that point.
body was craving like chocolate milkshakes. And, because her doctor told her that she could just eat whatever she wanted, she never really looked into anything that could help her body process through all of the chemo and the radiation and stuff like that. And so, we lost her right before I moved to Texas. And so it was interesting how this all came in because, and that's one of the things with butterflies too, is when she passed away, I did a kind of a celebration of life type thing in my backyard, and we let off monarch butterflies. And so to this day, she sends me and my children butterflies all the time.
Oh my God, I love that.
And so whenever I'm stressed out or whenever I'm like
You just get a reminder.
questioning something, it's like all of it, somebody will, like that purse over there, somebody gave me
I
that
love that purse, by the way. It's so freaking cute.
I mean, almost all of the butterfly stuff I have, somebody has given me. And it's like,
And if
it'll
you
just
don't know what
come in
she's talking
gifts.
about, her brand and logo is a butterfly.
Yeah. It's
So
a monarch.
I love that.
Yeah.
So to fast forward a little bit, you open Monarch and there's this machine that I kind of really want to talk about, the
Okay.
theta chamber. I didn't get to experience it, but I love the story behind it with Roger.
Yeah.
So I want you to share that with us.
Sure. So,
So what is a theta chamber and what does it like do?
okay. So the theta chamber is, I call it the ultimate brain and emotional healing device, but basically it is 4 modalities in one 30-minute session. The inventor of that technology actually created it to heal his son from cerebral palsy. And I know him very well. He's actually the creator of the AO scan technology too. And so always been fascinated with that. However, it basically does, what it does is it spins. So it people are really fascinated with it because it looks like a little space pod that
Yeah, it
spins
looks
in
like
circles.
just a sleeping pod.
Yeah. But actually the spinning in circles is doing vestibular motion. It's almost like getting like physical therapy at the same time. And so it really, really helps like with entraining the brain and getting both sides of the brain talking, communicating with each other, etc. It also
But
does.
you can't feel it spinning once you're in.
No.
You don't even feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel it when it starts, but then after that, you literally just feel like you're just floating
Laying
on a
there.
cloud.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on that you don't notice. And so, you have these little clips to your ears. It's called cranial electrical stimulation. That just sends little micro pulses through the earlobes to the brain to help train the brain. And then you also have earphones on. And so we do a custom sound therapy through like a program that's on the AO scan software, but literally you speak into it for 10 seconds, but it can listen to over 2,000 frequencies in your voice over like 10 to 12 octaves. And it can tell exactly what's going on with you emotionally right now. And
That's
creates
insane.
Yeah, it creates custom sound therapy with embedded frequencies to help balance that out, to work those emotions out.
So each person is going to experience something different because everyone has
Yes.
different emotional traumas.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very powerful. And then at the same time, you have these goggles over your eyes, but it does this broad spectrum, like flashing white light therapy, again, to help and train the brain. And so with the theta chamber, the reason why we got it, though, is you mentioned Roger. Roger has a daughter that was dealing with a pretty hardcore opioid addiction. And last summer, this was way before we even had gotten to a point where we were opening our business. And we have a friend who has a theta chamber here in the Magnolia area. And his daughter went through like a 30-day detox program, and then he brought her here to Texas, and she did 28 days straight in the theta chamber. And she's been doing really well since, and that was over a year ago. And that is like completely unheard of when you're talking about like addictions to like fentanyl and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
And
Because they also say like once an addict, always an addict. Like
Mhm.
that's a saying, and it's kind of true. You could literally go 5 years sober and you'll have that one hard day of relapse, and then it's like you have to start over again, which they do,
Yeah.
but there's always that chance of relapse.
Yeah.
But with this, it's almost like it's training the brain. You don't have the urges anymore,
Yes.
which to me is so freaking cool. Everyone
Yeah.
needs that.
And one of the issues with addiction is that depending on what type of addiction is, it's depleting certain brain chemicals in your brain. And so when you think about like let's say cocaine, for instance, when somebody does cocaine, it creates this full like release of dopamine, like a whole lot of dopamine. But what happens is it completely depletes your dopamine. And then when you crash, it's like you're depressed and psychotic and all of these things
Yeah.
because you can't even like it's a big crash, right?
Right.
And that's why people keep going back to it.
Because it's the only way they can pick it up, that
But the
dopamine
theta
up.
chamber has the ability within 28 days to get your brain chemicals back to baseline, which is completely unheard of. Usually with somebody who has these addictions, it takes for the brain to kind of reset. It takes a good year to a year and a half for that to happen. And that's why a lot of times it's like people can't feel happiness, they can't feel joy and different things like that because they've just completely depleted all of that. And so even with Adriana, Roger's daughter, and again, I didn't know her when she was younger. I had just met her, maybe the year before or a few months before that. So I didn't know her before. And him and his ex-wife would talk about how it was like within about 14 to 17 days, it's like she was a little girl again. She started smiling, she started talking, she started acting like her old self.
Wow, which is so powerful.
And it's just amazing.
Because as a parent too, when you
Yeah.
see, like you want to protect your kids, you want to take away their pain,
Right.
but like they'll go to the ends of earth to do anything for their kid. And I bet for Roger that was
Yes.
a big deal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I love that. I need to experience this theta. It's called theta.
It's a theta chamber.
Theta
Yeah.
chamber.
It's designed to get the brain in the theta brainwave state within 3 minutes. And so most of us don't have a good meditation practice, but that's
Yeah.
where you really relax and connect back with yourself and all of that. And it's designed to just take the nervous system down very quickly and get you in that relaxed state. And that's where the magic always happens.
And I agree. Fun fact, people don't even know this about me, but years ago, I went to school to be a massage therapist.
Yeah.
And that is we're Western medicine, that's the Eastern medicine.
Yeah.
And they teach you a lot of like your 7 chakras
Mhm.
and the 28 meridians in your body. And like that
Yeah.
is all this, like, and
Right.
learning how to balance it and the feng shui of like moving the energy because it gets blocked somewhere. From that, just going to school, I have taken that along with me everywhere in life. So I love any type of like meditation. That's why I recently just went to Sedona with my husband because I'm looking for something that can allow the brain to slow down. Our
Yes.
lives are fast,
Yes.
so fast.
Yes.
And in the midst of our lives being so fast, something bad happens. You know, everyone experiences trauma or like stress or
Mhm.
whatever. But you have to keep going
Yeah.
fast. And then you just kind of tuck that trauma somewhere and it stores somewhere in your body and it just tucks away. And
Yeah.
you never really dealt with it the proper way. So then now you're carrying that for the rest of your life. I might be even going too deep for people to understand, but that's why I'm a big communicator. I like to talk.
Yep.
I'm all about healing.
Yeah.
However you can heal. And I don't, if I have to take medicine, I'm going to take medicine, but I'm not really about the Western medicine and the treatments, because at this point it's a money pit, but we can get into a big formal conversation on another day. We're not here for
Yes.
that. Okay. But I know you have a few other, amazing treatments at your facility. You just mentioned there's one that you're like the 7th one in the world.
Yeah. So that is what is called our 0-point plasma ion suite. And really the reason why we opened this the center. And because, I say, somebody joked with me, I said, my passion is cancer. And they're like, your passion is cancer. But what I really wanted to have a place that is more of a community environment that people can just come and get their healing. And so the 0 Point Plasma Ion Suite, actually, we can have 8 people in that room. You've seen that room. It's a really amazing environment. But we can have 8 people in there doing a treatment at the same time.
But
And
like they're all the same treatment, or they could each be doing something tailored to whatever
it's
they
all the
need?
same, because what it does is it actually it incorporates 3 different technologies. One of them is you sit under this. It looks pretty interesting. It's like, I can't even explain it, but it's like it's over your head, and it's a negative ion. It's called negative ion rain. And what negative ions do is, when you think about like where we get the most negative ions, is like at the beach, like by the water, in the water, underneath a waterfall, stuff like that. Usually, as far as if you measure those negative ions, it's somewhere in the 10 to 20,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter. This actually rains through your body over 1.4 million negative ions per cubic centimeter. And so when you think about like, how do you feel when you're around water and you're at the beach, right? You feel relaxed. The circulation's
So
good.
still.
Your body just seems to be functioning so much better, all that type of stuff. You think about people that go to salt rooms, those are negative ion type, what that does for your respiratory system, different things like that. And so what happens is you sit in this room underneath these negative ion rain towers, I guess is what you would say. And so that relaxes your nervous system. It actually, like, it'll start helping with circulation, unclumping your blood. Our blood is real viscous and kind of with all of the toxins and everything that
Yeah.
we are exposed to. So the circulation gets the body start moving towards homeostasis while you're underneath there. And then in that room, we have these 5 plasma Rife tubes. And some people ask me, do they look like red lights? Because they are red, but there's one in each corner of the room and there's one in the middle. And if anybody's ever heard of Rife, when they talk about Rife frequencies, there was a doctor back in the 1930s that created a technology that he was actually turning around like 50 different chronic illnesses, including cancer. And what happened is, when the medical community kind of caught on, he was discredited. Wow, this was obviously over almost 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So that information has been kind of on the down low throughout the years, and people trying to recreate stuff like that. This particular technology, what we have, is very different than a Rife machine that you would have in your house, because some people do have Rife machines in their homes and stuff like that. Those will create a static frequency that go up to maybe about 25,000 to maybe 50,000 hertz. Ours starts at 100,000 hertz, and every 3 minutes, so you're in there for about 45 minutes, every 3 minutes it shifts to a different frequency. So in
Wow.
about 45 minutes, you get the full set of frequencies that he was turning around everything
Wow.
back in the 1930s. So what I tell people is this is what's so amazing, is your body, when you're working with frequency and energy type stuff, your body's going to take what it needs and it's going to leave the rest. Okay. The worst thing that's going to happen is it's going to cause your body to detox, but we need
Which
to be
is a good
detoxing
thing.
anyway.
Absolutely.
So I have seen some really cool stuff with people. We do have people that come through that are dealing with cancer. We have people that are dealing with anywhere from viral stuff, respiratory stuff, different things like that, even pain and relaxation. I mean, sometimes
Like
I will
inflammation
have,
and stuff.
yes, I will have clients come in too that just like seem like they're just losing it, like emotionally. I'll sit them underneath that negative ion rain and I'll just start telling me your woes. And they'll literally, like, within 5 to 10 minutes, it's just like, it just like works it out. I mean, it is the coolest thing ever. And so it's a place that people can come in and just sit there, and it doesn't matter what you have going on. It's going to help you in some way.
Yes.
And, during that process, our environment is just, it feels like going to I don't know, a funky living room or a cool coffee shop. I don't even know what you would say our environment is like. But it doesn't feel like a medical environment. It's just come hang out in here, relax, disconnect from the world.
Yeah. So, and the thing about medical environments, I feel like even those can be overstimulating.
Yes.
Like there's a lot,
Yes.
like everyone says when they have to wait in a hospital room, like you don't even get any rest. You're supposed to be getting better in the hospital, right? They're in, they're out, they're in, they're out. You get no rest. You can't wait to get out of there.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to me how society has us thinking that like this is how we have to heal, get better, get well.
Well, it's interesting too, because when you think about this from this standpoint, there are some simple things that could be done in a hospital that could make the total difference on somebody's health and healing. Whether it's
Yeah.
just changing out the lighting,
Allow them
speaking
to
to
go
people
outside.
with love,
Yes.
having surgeries that when people are under, not making comments about their boobs or something, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? like not talking about them like they're, not
A
a
number.
human being. Yes. Those things can make all the difference. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that we've really, really wanted to create was an environment with intention.
So I'd imagine when you leave this ion treatment thing, you leave feeling good.
Absolutely.
Like immediately, rather than like it takes time.
Yeah.
How many treatments you say that's one of the things where it's like one and done?
It depends
Like as
on what,
needed?
Yeah, it depends on what you have going on. I mean, obviously somebody who's dealing with a chronic challenge, they should be in there, a few times a week over a period of time if they're really wanting to work something out, But I have people with more like acute type things where, your viral stuff and different things like that. Sometimes they'll just come and do 1 or 2 sessions and it can really help turn that around for them.
Yeah.
It's like it just reminds
It's
the
almost
body.
like a therapist without having to get all vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm dying to talk about the pelvic floor chair because that is something I did get to experience whenever I went.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to lie, this is R rated, but I think the pelvic floor is for a bunch of things, right? Like
Absolutely.
especially if you're struggling with anything in that department. And just to share my experience, I work out a lot. So I'm learning. I have a pelvic floor specialist, physical therapist in one of my groups that I'm in. And I was chatting with her one day and I was just like, sometimes it feels like I need to use the bathroom, but like I just use the bathroom. Or she said there is a such thing as your pelvic floor being too tight as well.
Yeah.
And it's like when you work out, which
Right.
I think is my case, it's too tight rather than it being loose. I don't know which is worse.
Right.
But I sat on that chair for one time. I know you're supposed to do like a couple sessions. And I haven't had a feeling of like I still need to use the bathroom since.
That's amazing.
But it's like doing 1,000 Kegels a minute. That was like the kicker. That was like 1,000 Kegels a minute. Cause I mean, who's really doing Kegels anyways? My husband loved it. Let's just say it worked because it was like, holy crap, what's going on down there? So I really want to talk about all the benefits of that, and who would be qualified to sit in that chair. Like just anyone, or like what are the certain things that you're looking for?
What is so amazing about our pelvic floor? So basically it's a high frequency pelvic floor chair. So people aren't familiar with that. It basically you sit in it and it just sends high frequencies up to that area. It's equivalent to doing like 11,000 Kegels in like 30 minutes or something like that.
Which is insane.
Yeah. A lot of times people are looking for more passive stuff. And so, it's amazing that you work with a pelvic floor specialist because most people are like, they don't want to do the work. Right.
Right.
And this is a way to kind of passively do that
skip
too.
all that.
Yeah. And so, I never say one is better than the other. And sometimes they can work together very well too. Our particular device has like over 30 programs. And so we can tailor it specifically to what people need. And
it's like a whole menu. Like, what do you need? And I'm like,
I mean,
I don't know. There's so much
yeah,
to
and
choose from.
there's a tightening program and a loosening or a hybrid or this or that.
Yeah.
We have what is so amazing. You know, a lot of times, a lot of moms, you know, have leakage when they sneeze or cough. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like a pretty
And it's a common thing. I feel
big
like in
common
age,
thing.
if it's happening early, then that's
Yeah.
definitely something you need to look at. But through age, I think
Yeah.
that just kind of.
So a lot of women that come through and do it for that. We have a lot of with Roger being there, we're attracting. I mean, I would say almost 50% of our clientele are men too, and we have
That
men
do the pelvic floor?
They do the pelvic floor for prostate stuff.
Wow.
And so men, as they age too, their prostate enlarges, and then they have issues with urgency and stuff like that too. And so that can really help with prostate stuff. And then even people with prostate cancer and different things like that. It's really amazing for a lot of things. Like we have programs for even like postpartum care. Like I wish after I had babies that I had access to something or I even knew about that, right?
Yeah.
To really just kind of get all of that back to where it needs to go. And even for like people that are struggling with fertility, there are specific programs that help really bring circulation to that area and just wake that area up and all of that kind of stuff. We even have people that will use it for like, it can be used for like bowel type issues too. And then even
like if you struggle with, it just kind of helps get everything moving.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then what else was I going to say? I was going to say one other thing and I forgot.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. If I remember, I'll tell you.
So have you ever had any like clients come in and do a couple sessions and then they're like, oh my God, it's helped my intimacy or blah, blah, blah,
That
blah.
was the one thing I was going to say. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So there are, so we don't really, that's kind of a private thing. Not many people share. Sometimes they will.
Right. Of course.
But there are programs for things like erectile dysfunction and like genital feeling, waking up and different things like that. And so a lot of women hold their trauma in that area too. And so, but yes, it can be used for that kind of stuff. And I have heard stories about that also.
Well, I'll just share mine because my view is already,
Yes.
I'm an open book here. And honestly, I literally sat one session and my husband, he talks about this machine all the time. Like you need to go sit on the pelvic chair. You
That's
need to go
hilarious.
sit on the pelvic chair. But it was almost like it was too tight. Like but a huge difference. And I only sat on it one time. But I do the best that I can with trying to take care of my body. And I try to do everything as natural as possible.
Right.
Like even my foods. I mean, I've been eating a little bit of sugar lately, but I've just been in the nutrition and health industry for at least 12 to 15 years at this point. So like I've tried to pay attention. I won't eat certain things. So I do think that has that's a huge ingredient of maybe why I had such a quick and fast response in just one session rather than some people need to go a couple times.
Absolutely.
Before they even notice a difference. So if someone's feeling off and they don't know where to start when they're coming into Monarch, what's something that they can do to start off with? Because I feel like probably all your patients need every treatment you have.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So like, what does that look like?
I take a stance of being different as far as a practitioner. I always recommend that people just come in and do a tour, just see what we have.
Educate. Yeah.
But and a lot of times I'll just kind of ask some questions along the way. Now, if somebody wants to do a complete consult with me, we do that, but I don't require that because I really want people to feel empowered with their health too. Yeah. I don't want to be their doctor, although I can take more of the guidance stance if I need to. And so, my biggest thing though is this. A lot of people come to us that are struggling with a lot of stuff. And it's very fascinating the types of people that we're attracting to, because a lot of the people that we are attracting they haven't had any experience with any type of holistic stuff, a lot of them. And they're just like,
and if you're a
they're
beginner,
like stumbling in the door and like they need a complete overhaul of everything. If I were to sit them down in a chair and be like, you need to change your diet, you got to do this, you got to do this. And like
overwhelmed.
Yeah. They would be completely
just too
overwhelmed.
Much.
So I usually start with, are you sleeping?
Which is big. Like we all need to get, that's number one.
How are you managing your stress? And then if it's something like way at the surface, a lot of people are, they're dealing with chronic inflammation, pain type stuff and different things like that. Our PMF, they can get pretty good relief pretty quickly. And so it's like, we're very much like, okay, we got to manage your stress. We can do some of these things. And then we're going to start gradually moving into the more like changing your lifestyle stuff and different things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could get people to understand holistic wellness, like what's one thing you would want them to understand? Because maybe some people, like for my husband, I'll use him as an example. His mother is a nurse, and so he grew up in that industry all his life. He just knows how to hurry up and take a Z-Pack, like that's the route to go. So it's almost like they, what's the word? Not speculate. They question.
Yeah, there's just a
holistic medicine. Yes, skeptic. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for.
It's interesting because I worked over there, right? I worked over there too.
Yeah, and that's why I want to hear from you, because you see both sides.
Yeah.
And there was a time that's how you proceeded.
Yeah. Yeah. We live in this world that we look for a quick fix for everything.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to take a pill or something like that, as opposed to really trying to get to what's going on.
Yeah.
But I tell people that we're moving into a world now that if you don't get on board with more holistic stuff and really figuring out what is really going on, there's only so much that you can put duct tape over the check engine light before you break down.
I love that. It's almost like temporary fix instead of truly getting to the root of the problem,
I'm not
the
against
trauma.
medication at all. There's definitely, and surgeries and those types of things, there's a place for it.
Yeah, and sometimes you can't go, like there's just going to be that time that you have to go that route. It depends what the situation or scenario is.
People are looking for this, and whether they know that it's there or not, it's coming. It's coming. We are more and more and more being just really disillusioned with our healthcare world and what's going on. I'll give you an example. My dad was just diagnosed with lymphoma. And then it's like, he's like, my doctor missed it 3 months ago. I've been having issues. Wow. They thought it was this. They thought it was that. I mean, I hear the story every day. You're not going to get, people just aren't going to get the answers that they're wanting to get. And there's more and more and more people that are sick. And our healthcare system is just completely failing them in so many ways. And so I really just want to be a safe space that people can come. What I tell people is I can't guarantee that I will ever fix all your problems, but I can guarantee you're going to feel better in some way. And don't we want that? We want to feel better.
True. Everybody.
Whether it's in your mind, in your emotions, in your physical body, we want to feel better. And the things that we offer and the things on the holistic side can really, really get your body functioning in a better way.
What about like my sister's type 1 diabetes? What about that? Because I feel like that's where that's kind of going to be, you might have treatments, but they have to have insulin. They have to go.
Yeah. We have to have that. Absolutely.
Right.
There's things that you can do though that can still help your body function better, or maybe not be as reliant on insulin or something like that.
Yeah.
There are camps though that will say that type 1 diabetes is just an autoimmune and it can be turned around. Now I haven't experimented with that to see, but so then you start thinking,
I haven't seen anyone turn type 1 around.
I haven't either, but I'm like, if we believe that anything is possible, then maybe there is a way to turn it around. We just haven't figured out how to do that
yet.
But at any given rate, we can help the body to function better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love it because we are seeing more people move away from meds. What about IV therapy or like NAD drips or anything like that? Do you believe in any of those things?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the NAD is more on a cellular
NAD
level
is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have actually seen places that maybe not necessarily here, but I've heard stories of even treating addiction with NAD.
Really?
IV. Yeah. And so the place I used to work at would do the higher dose NAD IV, but those are longer sessions when you do it because your body, it's, it can cause increase in heart rate and stuff like that. Like it can be a pretty long session
Yeah.
depending on how much you're doing, because you can't tolerate
It should definitely be monitored for sure.
I love NAD. I
Me
think
too.
IV therapy is amazing. The place I used to work at, we would do IV ozone and high dose IVC.
I have heard so many amazing things about ozone.
And so there's some cool things that you can really do from IV therapies and stuff like that. And at some point we might get into some of those things. We just don't have a medical director yet to do that. So,
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, well, since you are new here, we love to finish with some type of game. So holistic or hilarious is going to be the game. And so I'm going to list some treatments and you can say if they're real or made up.
Some treatments?
Yeah. So cryotherapy for eyelashes.
I don't even know because I don't get into the aesthetics. So I would say hilarious, although it's probably real.
Chakra laser detox.
Yeah.
So holistic. Sound bath for your butt cheeks.
I mean, that's pretty hilarious, but anything's possible.
Cupping therapy for your face.
Yes, absolutely. Holistic.
I love cupping, honestly. Coffee enema yoga fusion.
Wait, coffee, enema, and yoga at the same time?
Count me in. I'm just I have a mentor that I hired. She was like a life coach mentor. She was going through cancer and she refused to do Western treatment. She was like, I'm not doing it. She did all the holistic things under the sun. She fought. She didn't make it. And I remember coffee enema was like one of her biggest things that she did every day. What's the benefits?
It's amazing for your liver. It's amazing for your liver. It's amazing just cleaning out the liver detox and all of that kind of stuff.
Man, I'm gonna have to tell my husband that. I'm kind of
too. The thing is though, if you're going to do that because you're, anything that goes up that area is as close to IV, doing something IV as possible because, your membranes absorb stuff very quickly. And so you just have to make sure that if you do a coffee enema, that it's specifically like a very clean coffee. And, there's specific coffees that they sell
not
for that.
like all kind of stuff in it.
Yes. Yeah. And so if you go down that rabbit hole.
I'm going to have to go down that rabbit hole. I think I'm interested.
Yes, but I've done it before and I actually felt pretty amazing. I haven't done it in a long time though.
Well, I love what you're doing. I think it is so impactful. I was so impressed when I visited, and you've already added so much more since the visit that I've made.
Yes.
I love that. Keep impacting people. Let my listeners know where they can find you and learn more about all your treatments.
So our website is monarchquantumwellness.com. We can be found on Facebook and Instagram too, Monarch Quantum Wellness. Yeah.
And it's a spring.
We are in Spring, Texas. We're considered Spring, but we're off Gosling Road.
So the Woodlands.
Just south of the Woodlands and north of 99. We're kind of in a little pocket right there.
Yeah. It's kind of how my address is. We're Zone Woodlands, but
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving me your time and allowing people to learn about this holistic way because I truly think this is the future.
Yes,
I can only hope that this is the future. And as usual, you know what to do. You can subscribe on YouTube, follow me do downloads on podcast. Oh, God, I can't even talk. Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And please share on your social medias so we can build our audience. And until next time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stacey.
so much. Thank you.
You bet.